Do you have control over your emotions or do your emotions control you? That's typically the difference between reacting and responding. And it also often is the difference between chaos and peace. Welcome back to Unzip Lips. I'm your hostess, Mary Freshwater. And today we are unpacking, unzipping the truth on reactive and responding, which you've heard me talk about a couple times throughout this podcast. And now we're going to deep dive into it because when you look at reacting, which is giving away power, staying unhealed, living in your trauma, living in your past, and reactive is not taking ownership of yourself in your healing journey. Responding is you taking control back, you owning yourself, owning your power, and not giving it away anymore. Being healed and being on that journey. There is a big difference between the two. And I want to explain them a little bit more, starting with reactive. It is very knee jerk. Others can provoke you to feel something and feel it quickly. It's an emotional charge. It's typically based on survival mode because when you're in survival mode, you have to be instantaneous. You have to be able to respond to whatever's happening, and you are programmed to be quick responding. But that also means someone else is causing this. Someone else is hijacking your emotions within an instant. And those emotions are unfiltered, very overly charged typically. And often, again, driven in wounds and triggers, and sometimes an ego. So when you talk about reacting, it means that you're not the person in control of what you're emotionally doing. So when I start to talk about responding, that is coming from a place of ownership, power, healing, where you get to decide how you feel, how you act, how you show up emotionally for yourself and for others in your life. This is so intentional. It's thoughtful. It's rooted in choice. You are choosing how you feel. It requires a lot of awareness and ownership because, like I said, reactive is based off of you giving someone else the power, like handing them the remote to your emotions and being like, well, whatever happens, happens. Do you really want to live a life like that? Because responsive is you holding the control of yourself with your own emotions and knowing how you're going to react to what comes up. So again, reactive is fire instant, all consuming. Well, responsive is water calming, steady, life giving. And I hate saying that you're stuck because I mean everyone says it everywhere and you hear it all over social media, you hear it all over podcasts. I mean, you have all the big wigs out there talking about being stuck emotionally after trauma and it just keeps going, but this is the simplest way of showing how and why, because when you default to reacting, you are the ultimate stuck because you haven't taken any control back. Your trauma and the conditioning and your past that hurt you are the reasons why you are not in control and you're allowing them to keep the remote to your emotional stability. And that it right there is like the harsh truth of so much is that we have not decided to take ownership of how we feel and how we think. We allow everything else to still control us. And it's okay, but not forever. I mean, when you're coming out of things, you start to have to build up your awareness and see what you've been conditioned for and what your trauma has like embedded into you. But once you start to see it, you need to start taking control of it. And when you find yourself finally in like saying something, you made me angry. Well, you made me feel this way. Um, just a question. Did they like jump in your body and like go in there and fester all this up? Because no one else can technically make you feel a way unless you allow them to. Reactive is being protective. It's like a coat of armor because when you can blame someone else, you aren't having to reflect on yourself. You don't have to see why it happened. You're not looking at the triggers. You're not looking at where the wounds are. How deep do they go? You are not having to take ownership of the fact that you are the one that's allowing this to continue happening in your life. You're not unprogramming healthy and you're not reprogramming healthy back in. You are deciding to continuously give your power away. And this is where people aren't going to like me because I am going to tell you if you are continuously living in a place of reacting, you are handing the people, the controller that hurt you over and over, and you are choosing it. Because we have a choice in this life. We have a choice to heal. We have a choice to take our power back. It's called ownership. I am the only one who can control what is going to happen within my mind and my body. No one else can do that. Well, I mean, I'm saying healthy, but it's going against what has been programmed into you. The fight or flight response is hardwired. And if unchecked, it gets you trapped in a cycle of reacting. When unchecked, you default to that. When unchecked, you don't start to heal and you don't move forward and you stay stuck. And the only way to check that is by taking ownership of your healing, taking ownership of who you are, and taking ownership of telling your story and healing. That's how you start to mend yourself because the cost of reacting and staying there is astronomical. And you and I, a lot of people have no idea when they're first coming out how detrimental it is to who they are and who they want to be in this life. Because if you continue reacting, you aren't going to have a healthy relationship because you don't know how to have one. You don't even know how to be healthy with yourself. You don't even know how to take control of your own emotions and your own thoughts, and you're always projecting onto someone else. So words are going to be spewed out in anger, and I'm sorry. But when people say words don't mean anything, it's all about action. But no, words showing your intent, your actions show your character, and the two of them together will show me who you are. So when you say things out of anger, you cannot put them back in. Those words hurt because your intention is showing. And your intention is that you don't want to take control and you want to blame everyone else for who you are and what you are. And that is why it's called Unzip Lips. So, but it's exhausting to live in reactive mode. It is exhausting because you are always on the defense and you never get to feel safe. And then you start to regret things. You also deal with a lot of shame that follows your reactiveness. It keeps you stuck. It even keeps you stuck in a victim because it's always someone else's fault. That's very victimizing. So the control is always external. But responding is so powerful because it's self-trust. You build yourself, you heal the wounds and you take control and say, no one else has power over me but me. I can handle myself no matter what is thrown at me. That is such a huge thing, that the world can throw stuff at you emotionally. Will things hurt? Yes. I mean, I'm sorry, but when people die, there's no way around it. It's going to hurt. When people are vicious, it's going to hurt. And it is okay to have that emotional response of hurt, because that is an appropriate response. But now lashing out in anger because someone made you mad, that is not responsive. That is reactive. When you come from a place of responsive, you're coming from a space of wisdom, and instead of regret, shame, hurt, wounds, trauma, it shows so much strength. So much strength. Nobody else gets to push your emotional buttons. You choose what gets activated, which allows so much power within you. You have that power. And you control the outcome of what you're thinking, you're saying, and how it affects you emotionally. It builds safety within yourself. Your peace isn't determined by the chaos of this world. This world is chaotic, and it will destroy you and keep you triggered if you let it. Build trust with yourself. And in relationships, oh, dude, I can't even tell you how many times I've had to look at someone and be like, hey, before I get hurt by what you just said, this is how it sounds to me. And they're like, oh, no, that's not what I meant. But I'm able to come from a place of responding and not quick engaged. Oh my God, I'm hurt. And like, I can't handle this. I'm coming from a place of responding and making sure that someone's intent is what I just heard. And so then I can come from a place of choice because I'm in control. I'm not being controlled. I am in control and I'm not being controlled. And I know this is a hard practice to really get into because, I mean, I was reactive. And especially in abusive situations, when you've been in it for a very long time, you have abusive reactions. So that means that someone's gaslighting you or super abusive and you just start to react. And it's not a good reaction. Been there, done that. It's not fun. And you have to stop and you have to sit back and you need to figure out how to unlearn the unhealthy and relearn or learn healthy. So personally, like, I didn't know what healthy was until I was in my 30s because I had not had relationships or home lives that said that I was living in a healthy environment. I didn't know how to be healthy. So I had to unlearn everything I had learned to learn healthy. That came with a healing process. That came with a learning process. And one of the biggest things I found for me to start being able to be responsive instead of reactive is not engaging in an emotional response off the bat. I would pause for a moment, take some deep breaths, and then be like, oh, why does this hurt so much? How did they just make me feel? Okay, is it really worth that emotion? Is it? Or is that emotional response bigger than it should be? And I started to question what was going through my head, what was going through my chest, what was going through my body, what energy was coming up, what energy was wanting to just burst out of me. Because when you shift the language from you made me to I feel, that is the fastest way of ownership. So when you take that deep breath and instead of saying, oh, you made me, check your emotions and say, I feel that you disrespected me. I feel that you came at me with harsh intent? Is this what you meant? Because when you start to change that verbiage, you start to take ownership. And so much of this podcast is about taking ownership and building yourself, building you, because you are the only person who can decide what you're going to be in this life. This world will create a horrific version of you if you continue allowing it to. You're the one who has to decide the version of yourself that you want to build, especially after trauma, especially after negative experiences, deaths, events, life altering things. And don't get me wrong, you could have had a lot of little T's in your life, and it comes to be a big one at the end of the day because it was unchecked and you did not find regulation. And now you're coming from a place of panic and trauma. And you are now in a place of reactive because you don't want to get hurt again. But when you start to take ownership and you start to see that you're the one who gets to decide what will hurt you and what will stay with you and what will move on with you and how you will build and how you will show up and how you just will be, dude, life changes when you understand the power is in your hands. The power is in your hands. So ask yourself, don't assume. Shift from reacting, which is assuming, to asking clarification questions. I feel this way. Is this what you meant? You'd be surprised how much people are like, oh, no, I didn't mean, sorry. Cool, let's work through this. One of the biggest other tools that I can offer you that I've used in the past is I choose my responses. My feelings are valid, but they don't get to drive the bus. They are not going to cause another train wreck. No one controls my emotions but me. Others have hurt me. Others have caused damage in me. But guess what? I'm the one who gets to control how I will be from this point on, not them. I'm not going to continue handing the power over to the people that hurt me and the people that want to see me fail. Screw that. I get to decide where I go from here. That is so powerful. And I would love to see people really embody that. And one of the biggest ways is somatic workouts. I'm huge on them. I have them in my practice. I have people work on these. And a lot of it comes with breath work, taking a walk, walking away when things are not healthy, and empowering yourself over and over. And one of the best ones is cold showers. Multiple clients hate me for that. But reset your nervous system. Walk away from things that are not good for you. Walk away from the toxic. Get a physical reset. And I gave you a lot. So let's really bring it down and talk about some examples. So then you can really see where I'm coming from on this. One of the biggest ones is when your partner says something that's triggering to you. And I had a podcast on triggers and how they're your responsibility. You're the one who needs to heal them. But when you're triggered, you can still come from a place of responding and not reacting. So when a spouse says something and it triggers you, reacting is yelling, storming off, and just being explosive and just going nuts. But when you come from a place of responsiveness, it's, hey, that hurt me. Can we talk about this? And what did you mean by it? And really getting into it with them so you can heal in the moment. You don't have to come at them and later. No, because then when you react, you're both hurt. You're now both defensive, and nothing healthy is going to be happening from that moment on. You can be triggered and still be responsive because you've chosen to take that power back. and you've chosen to start working on yourself and healing. But one of the fun ones is work. Oh, everybody loves this one. So, when a boss criticizes you, do you get defensive? Do you blame everybody else? But that's what bosses don't want to hear it. They're trying to grow you. Well, let me take that back. Good bosses want to grow you, and this is why they're saying something. There is some crap bosses out there that are find a new job. If you're in that environment, find a new job. I know it might take a minute, but find a new job because you're worth more than that. But you can be responsive when someone criticizes you. I hear you. Can I get more feedback to clarify how I can improve? Take it to learn. Take it that they want nothing but the best for you. Don't come at them like they're here to dig in and just be vindictive. They're not. And then the fun one is social media. Reactive. You clap back. Keyboard warrior. Responsive is silence. Thoughtfulness on your engagements. Emotionally cool. You're intentional with your interactions with your audience. That's responsive. Reactive is everyone else is to blame for where you're at and blah, blah, blah. Come on. Take ownership. How about when a stranger cuts you off in traffic? Road rage much? Responsive is, okay, that was annoying. But you just keep going. It's not that big of a deal. It's so much of you deciding who you want to be. And you can't build a version of yourself you want if you're constantly reacting to the world. One of the biggest philosophies in Build You, my business, is you were created by your past, by your wounds, and they primed you for this reactive culture. But building is a choice. It's choosing to respond different. It's choosing to be better than how this world wanted to program you. You get to build yourself. You get to decide who you are going to be. I don't know how many times I've said that now. You have the power to be an amazing person. You need to take ownership of you. You need to choose you. No one else holds the power. No one else holds your controller. That power is yours and yours alone. Claim it. Find healing. Responsive is building you. Responsive is deciding you are worth more. You are worth what's coming next. And you are worth the ownership and choices. You can't control what people are going to do and say in this world. You cannot control them. But you can control you. You are the only person that can control you. Your integrity, your emotions, your values, the list goes on. That is 100% you and built by you. Nobody else gets to choose it for you. So I want to leave you with one challenge. Within the next few weeks, this week, next week, pay attention to when you say someone else made you mad, that they made you upset. See if you can catch yourself and start writing new verbiage. Start building a new you. I felt angry. I felt upset. Put I on how to respond because no one else can control you. No one has control, and don't allow anyone else to take it from you from this point on. And I have said this so many times that a negative world may have created me, but I built me. The woman sitting here today was built by me, not by this world that created me. And it started with decisions like this, me choosing that I control my responses. No one else does. So thank you for unzipping with me today. And I hope you can find some peace and build the next step. If you want to work with me, you can check out my website, buildyou.us. I would love to book a clarity call with you and we can see if we're a good match to work together. I also have a book on Amazon called Build You After Trauma. Grab a copy, start working on things for yourself. It will show you how to start building yourself and stop reacting. I am super excited that you were able to listen with me today. Send this to someone who may need to hear it. Like, share, follow, subscribe. I love all the support I've been getting. So please keep it up. And I look forward to talking with you guys all on the next one.